software in order to be able to track whether it's you working or 50 other people who stole your Social Security number. Now, what's interesting is that the way that they've done this is that they've used the employer ID number as the unique identifier instead of your name. So what happens is they know your name and your Social Security number match, and they know where you live, and so they know it's you. But if, say, someone named Bob Smith was using your Social Security number and working at, say, a meat packing plant in Iowa, well, they use the employer identification number to differentiate that from you. Now, if two people who happen to be working at that same plant had both stolen your Social Security numbers, it would be rejected because it had the same employer ID number.
Wow.
But you could go anywhere else and work as long as it's not in the same place with the song. And from what I've been able to find out, some Social Security numbers, because they get passed around when people come across the border, some Social Security numbers have been used on more than 10,000 W-2s. It's just absolutely insane that the IRS is doing this. I mean, I just can't believe it. I mean, if you or I, as a U.S. citizen, decided that you were going to use someone else's Social Security number and get a job and put it down as for your W-2s so that you didn't have to pay income tax on your earnings, they would throw us in jail.
So a lot of people claim that they can't tell the difference between somebody who's misusing a Social Security number from, a criminal from a person who's using it, mistakenly. Is that true?
Well, they know the difference because they're not putting someone putting the Social Security number in and the W-2's coming back. It's not ending up in the actual owner's file. In fact, the IRS, you can actually go on their website. I can send you a link, and it says if someone is accidentally, or not accidentally, someone is using your Social Security number and it accidentally ended up on your reportings for earning, contact us and we'll solve it. They could have been used for employment purpose by someone else. Once they've stolen the Social Security number, then as I started talking to the voter registrar in Virginia, what was interesting on that, because we got in a conversation, I started talking about the Social Security number issues as well. And they were telling me that they have people who are coming in constantly, a lot of them cannot even speak English, to get a voter registration card in Virginia. And the reason being is Virginia is where every single fake ID for all the 9/11 terrorists were gotten through the DMVs. Until they got their licenses and everything to be able to get on planes and everything. So DMV got very strict to what you had to have in order to get a driver's license. They required information. So every single person you see as a non-U.S. citizen and illegal in the United States that you see driving, or at least in Virginia, they have to have two forms of government ID. So the first one they use is a stolen Social Security number, and oddly enough, it passes, even if it's not your Social Security number. Then the next one is a voter registration card, which you do not have to have a photo ID. You do not have to have a birth certificate to get one. You go in and you sign an affidavit saying that I am a U.S. citizen and this is my name and I live inside this voter registration district. And then the only checks and balances that the voter registrar has is they have to mail the voter registration card to a house or an address that's within that voter registration district. But you do not have to speak English. You don't have to show any ID under the voter rights laws. And so you can just go in, fill out an affidavit, say I'm who I am, I'm a U.S. citizen, and get a voter registration card. Then once they get the voter registration card, they go to DMV, and they use their Social Security number, and they use the voter registration card, and they get a driver's license once they pass the test. So what that means is they have a valid ID, and they have a voter registration card, which means they can go right to the poll and vote.
Wow.
Now, granted, they didn't get the voter registration card to try and vote. They got it as something that someone figured out and shared to everyone as to how to get a driver's license. But the scary part about it is that means that there are literally possibly millions of illegal immigrants in the United States that have voter registration cards and photo IDs that could go to the polls, which scares me.
And this sounds like some sort of policy that would have been enacted by the Obama administration in order to actually facilitate the exploitation of cheap illegal labor.
Yeah, you could easily put it that way, because in 2009, I mean, that's when Homeland Security could no longer use it for looking for illegals that were in the country. And then at the same time, they suspended the Social Security Administration in sending out notices to employers of duplicate or mismatch information.
So they barred the Social Security network from sending out this information to employers to tell them that they have people working for them who are not who don't have a real security guard. But then what was the other one you said? The first one?
Well, DHS. DHS in 2007 started using the no match rule when Social Security numbers didn't match to the name. They started using that to look for illegal aliens and look for employers who were legally hiring people.
And then in 2009, they basically
in 2009 that was rescinded, and they were restricted from using that information in order to look for illegal aliens or look for people coming in or employers that were hiring. And then at the same time, that's when the Social Security Administration also stopped sending out the mismatched letters.
Wow.
So it basically just stopped it. Now, what really gets me is that the IRS spent government funds to modify their system in order to help people commit identity fraud in order to steal people's identity theft. Okay, not only did they do this to help this, to enable this, they also profited by it.
So, Mark, why don't you tell us kind of what you think needs to get done from here?
Right. Now, this is where it needs to move now. Justice needs to go after it in order to just crack down on identity theft. We've got a known list of people who've stolen identities, lied on government forms. This is no different than them going after any other identity theft case. It should have nothing to do as far as saying it's racially motivated or it's against one illegal immigrants or anything else coming in, because it isn't. It's identity theft. Most of the undocumented aliens or illegal aliens have been very reluctant to vote, but right now they see this as a moratorium, that they need to vote on. I mean, they're protesting more openly and everything else, and there's nothing to stop them from showing up at the polls and voting in those districts, and that sort of worries me a little bit. But here's even the better part. Here's the part that really gets interesting, and that is that if these people are convicted of identity theft, that means that any of the money that they have earned or gained that can be confiscated through legal action becomes ownership of the government. Just like if you got caught selling drugs and you had $1 million, and the government takes it. And they can pretty much do whatever they want with it. So, oddly as it sounds, you go after this, you prosecute these people. All the earnings that are in there, or any of these duplicate Social Security numbers, is now freed up. It's now basically confiscated money. And we're talking to almost $1 trillion in there. There's everything we need to build a wall.